Scales, you know, the last few sections that we've done pretty much covered everything you need to know for scales, and that was intentional. The way that I thought of organizing this was like, let's do as much right hand as we can without the left hand, then add the left hand as simply as possible. And when you think about it, in order to do scales, you need to be able to, you know, alternate your fingers, which we did in an earlier. You need to be able to do minimum pressure and weight shifting and all the stuff we did in this little chromatic exercise. And then you need to be able to do shifts, which we talked about in shifting. So that's why all that stuff comes before scales, because for a lot of scales you need to shift. And you also need to be able to work in your string crossings too, and understand the movements and dynamics of those. As I said in a prior video, rarely are you doing 3 octaves, let alone 2. So for building speed initially and working on all this stuff like weight shifting and everything, you know, in a scale, I kind of prefer to start with 2 octaves or 1 octave scales, and then maybe 2 octave. And then there's also this pattern where it's like a jazz positional scale where, because you're using that fingering, you don't need to do any shifts, whereas in the Segovia scales, you need to do shifts. You're gonna wanna start practicing applying the all the things we talked about in engagement in both the left and right hand. So I would basically just continue to use either this chromatic exercise or 1 octave scales or 2 octave scales, either this version or this version. I also do a lot of improvisation, so I'll sometimes when it looks like I'm practicing jazz licks, but really I'm practicing weight shifting and minimum pressure. So it looks like I'm practicing jazz, but really I'm focused on all the left hand stuff. And I think that's everything.